Good morning. It's November 20th, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. A new discovery at Lake Mendota reveals a long history of canoe travel in eastern North America, starting with a 1,200-year-old find in 2021 and expanding to canoes dated as old as 5,200 years. Radiocarbon dating places the oldest canoe at about 5,200 years, making it the third oldest found in the region and suggesting a long tradition of lake-based travel. Researchers have documented and mapped 16 submerged canoes at the lake, indicating a recurring practice of leaving canoes for reuse along travel routes, described as a prehistoric parking lot. The initial 2021 finds included canoes dated to 3,000 and 4,500 years, with later discoveries showing ages around 2,000 years, revealing multiple layers of use at the site. The project notes that the 5,200-year-old canoe is among the oldest in the region, while two older canoes have been found further south in Florida. The Lake Mendota findings contribute to a broader pattern of canoe travel across eastern North America and emphasize a long-standing cultural relationship with lake habitats. Indigenous collaboration is a central part of the project, with tribal preservation officers highlighting the ongoing connection between indigenous communities and these waters. Lake Mendota sits near Lake Wingra and Ho-Chunk ancestral lands, with spiritual importance tied to local springs and waters. These discoveries suggest many more rests lie at the lakebed as researchers continue to document and interpret the sites. The work underscores the enduring significance of lake environments in indigenous travel networks and the cultural heritage tied to these submerged canoes. A first-of-its-kind effort in the United States uses drones to deliver automated external defibrillators during real 911 cardiac arrest calls, aiming to cut the critical time to treatment. Duke Health and Forsyth County, North Carolina lead the study, with partners including Forsyth County Fire and EMS, the Sheriff's Office, Wake Forest University School of Medicine, and collaborators from Virginia Commonwealth University, University of Washington, Emory, and the University of Toronto. The drone dispatch is triggered immediately after a cardiac arrest call and arrives before EMS to provide an AED to bystanders. The project is supported by the American Heart Association, with Monique Starks, Maryland, as principal investigator. The effort seeks to determine feasibility, cost, and potential survival impact, laying groundwork for a larger, multi-center randomized trial. The pilot operates in Clemens, NC from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. under Starks's leadership, with coordination across local emergency services and law enforcement. By design, the study emphasizes bystander education so people on scene can apply the AED when the drone arrives, especially in rural and remote areas where EMS response may be longer. Dispatchers will provide instructions on AED use while EMS is en route, narrowing the delay before treatment. The initiative envisions delivering AEDs within 5 minutes for more than half of Forsyth County's population, and in James City County, Virginia, expanding to urban and rural settings if successful. The study is coordinated through the Duke Clinical Research Institute and is described as potentially revolutionizing emergency care by reducing time to treatment and saving lives. Duke Health Communications will provide ongoing updates as data are collected and analyzed for outcomes, feasibility, and scalability. If the results support the approach, the trial could inform a broader, multi-center study on drone-delivered AEDs across diverse environments. A topological superconductor breakthrough in PtBi2 shows superconductivity confined to the material's surfaces, while the interior stays metallic, creating a natural superconducting sandwich. The superconductivity is tied to PtBi2's threefold crystal symmetry and exhibits a six-fold electron pairing symmetry, a first for superconductors. Surface electrons pair and carry current without resistance at low temperatures, but the pairing occurs only along specific surface directions, revealing a six-fold rotational symmetry distinct from conventional superconductors. ARPES measurements across multiple photon energies reveal highly resolved Fermi arcs, with a leading edge gap that closes at the arc centers, indicating nodes. The nodal gap function is modeled as I wave, with d of k proportional to sine of 6 Fi, implemented in a surface Wannier-based BDG framework to reproduce arc gaps and surface Majorana cones. The coexistence of gapless surface Majorana cones with a metallic bulk means immediate quantum computing applications are not yet feasible. Routes under study include using ultra-thin samples to suppress bulk modes or engineering time reversal symmetry breaking to realize chiral Majorana edge modes or corner states. The work, conducted by teams at IFW Dresden and CT.QMAT with collaborators at the Leibniz Institute for Solid-State and Materials Research, Dresden and the Würzburg Dressine Cluster CT.QMAT, was published in Nature in 2025. Next steps involve exploring how to control Majorana modes and how thickness or external fields alter the superconducting and topological properties, including predicting edge-hinge Majorana modes that localize at hinges when time reversal symmetry is preserved and gap when TRS is broken. PtBi2 edges host Majorana particles trapped along edges, potentially movable between edges and corners by fabricating step edges, thinning the sample, or applying magnetic fields to advance qubit control. The discovery provides a practical, intrinsic material platform that does not require layered structures or exotic conditions to host Majorana particles, offering a path toward more stable quantum device architectures. APEP, the Milky Way's most unusual bound multiple star system, is shedding light on how dust forms in extreme stellar environments. Using the James Webb Space Telescope, researchers reveal 4 spiraling dust shells around APEP that formed over the past 7 centuries, driven by 2 Wolf-Rayet stars in a rare wide orbit, with a third massive supergiant shaping the dust pockets. Visualization and simulations show 3 stars are gravitationally bound, driving a complex dust formation process powered by colliding stellar winds. The dust shells arise as the 2 Wolf-Rayet stars approach and pass each other roughly every 190 years. Their winds collide and eject material into spirals that persist for about 25 years with each cycle. NASA and collaborators released the visualization on November 19, 2025, crediting image and simulation teams from STSCY, Caltech, Macquarie University, and STSCI's visualization and processing teams. 8 years of very large telescope measurements, combined with web imagery, enabled mapping of the rings and shells' expansion speeds to determine the system's orbital dynamics. APEP stands out as the Milky Way's only known bound system containing 2 Wolf-Rayet stars of these types, underscoring its rarity as an astrophysical laboratory. The dust is predominantly amorphous carbon and extremely dense, with production speeds of 1,200 to 2,000 miles per second, remaining hot enough for Webb's MIRI to detect in mid-infrared. The release provides downloadable 3D video assets in 2 resolutions at 60 frames per second that showcase the spiraling dust shells around APEP. The discovery emphasizes APEP as an exceptional laboratory for studying dust production from colliding winds, noting such systems are exceedingly rare and that future observations are needed to pin down the system's distance from Earth. Authors Yinuo Han and Ryan White refined the orbital geometry by combining Webb imaging with 8 years of VLT shell expansion data, confirming the 3 stars are bound and that the third star's influence is crucial to the observed dust structures. Estimated masses place the 2 Wolf-Rayet stars at roughly 10 to 20 solar masses each, and the supergiant at about 40 to 50 solar masses, with the system likely ending in supernovae or gamma-ray bursts for one or both Wolf-Rayet stars. Webb confirms the third companion is physically bound by its intersection with the dust shells, a finding described as the study's smoking gun. A growing awareness of autoimmune encephalitis is changing how we think about sudden brain inflammation, from seizures to memory gaps and even psychosis. Researchers at major centers are running trials to develop more precise therapies that target the antibodies driving the disease, aiming to improve accuracy and outcomes. Announcements emphasize expanding knowledge of the antibodies involved and creating targeted treatments as part of ongoing research. Kiara Alexander's case in Charlotte shows how presentations can vary with seizures and memory disruption, and how a timely spinal tap that detects antibodies can lead to recovery after addressing a linked ovarian cyst. Christy Morill's journey, from memory loss to rehabilitation and advocacy with the AE Alliance, highlights resilience, support networks, and coping strategies like haiku. Personal accounts reveal the emotional toll, including memory gaps for personal milestones and a return to activity and leadership in AE support groups. Muril now leads an AE Alliance support group and shares his story through haiku, while advocating for research and awareness, despite irreversible memory gaps. Diagnosis can be challenging and delayed because symptoms mimic psychiatric or other neurological disorders, underscoring the need for timely recognition and treatment. Autoimmune encephalitis is caused by rogue antibodies attacking the brain, producing a range of symptoms from confusion to seizures and psychosis, with diagnosis often difficult when presentations mimic other conditions. Early recognition and treatment can restore daily functioning, though some patients retain lasting cognitive effects, as seen in Muril. Antibody identification has expanded to include multiple targets, with tests on blood and CSF guiding diagnosis and ongoing discovery of new antibodies. 2 major clinical trials pursue targeted therapies to reduce antibody production, alongside approaches that remove antibodies or suppress inflammation, while existing treatments combine anti-inflammatory care with antibody-focused strategies. The overarching message is the importance of awareness and early diagnosis, with ongoing advocacy and support work continuing to unfold as trials advance and patients share their experiences. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. Tune in tomorrow. We'll be back with everything you need to know.